Rev it up, Mustang fanatic. Found the '03 Lincoln LS. It's got the same head, so I gotta pull this whole intake off in order to get to that valve cover. So here we go. Rev it up, Mustang Fanatic Productions Mechanic Edition. This is day 2 with the '05 Lincoln LS, and it was just supposed to be coils, plugs, and a fuel rail pressure sensor, but the valve covers were no good. Where the coils seat, that area was pretty messed up, and the coils will never seal, and you would lose compression within the engine. So we found valve cover gaskets at Pick and Pull. So we had to take a break yesterday and get our meds, and so we heavily medicated. It's a little early in the morning. I'm just going to get this valve cover off and take some more pain meds, and then head back to bed. And then tomorrow, which is already today, is after 12, go and get the other valve cover gasket. But it's pretty simple. There's a 8mm bolt that went in there. You want to get this fuel line out of the way. You want to loosen up everything around here, your wires around the valve cover gaskets, and any hoses that's in the way. And then that little thermostat, what do you call it, temperature gauge, right in the valve cover. That's a 3/4, and you can stick that 3/4 wrench right in there, and once it unscrews, once you get it loose, it'll unscrew right out, and then all your valve covers can come off. Make sure you get all 12 valve cover bolts. So that's the temp sensor right there. So we want to wrap this up and keep this pretty safe. So all the wires are this DPEM. You loosen the 2 bolts up and get those off of that, and you gotta loosen it on the other side, and that gives you room to get to those bolts back there. And basically that's about it. We'll show you the valve cover gaskets later. Found the '03 Lincoln LS. It's got the same head, so I gotta pull this whole intake off in order to get to that valve cover. So here we go. So here's the new valve cover gasket. You can see the seal, the gasket is still good, and then you can see the difference on this where the coils rest on. Those aren't broken. So you got a good one from Pick and Pull. And here's the valve train. That's dual cams. So you got 2 cams on this side, 2 cams on that side. And so we looked in here, and there's your spark plugs, the new ones, and there's no oil that was in there. So your spark plug tube seals, which is this right around here, here, and here. These are spark plug tube seals that stop oil from getting into the plugs. And that seal it looks real good. Nothing's flattened out, and all the way around here, nothing's flattened out. So looking pretty good here. So we just got those spark plugs in. So now we're gonna go ahead and install this head gasket. But first, we got to put a little black sealant here, here, and then here and here, so we don't get any leaks. So we got the valve cover on, we got the new plugs in, and we got the wire harness straight up. Now we just changing the fuel pressure rail sensor. There's the old fuel pressure rail sensor. There's the new box. Here's the new fuel rail pressure sensor. And it goes right at the back of the fuel head there. And there's a connection that's right there, and there's 2 bolts that go into it. And you might want to put a little bit of lube on that, because that's got to slip in there pretty good. Here's the brand new box, so Duralast 6 coils, brand new. We're gonna start to put the coils in on this side. I got the fuel pressure regulator sensor in. I just gotta take the plugs out that side, put the new plugs in, gap them, put the coils on, and then we can start to put the intake back on here and get ready to get this thing running. Okay, there's the brand new coils in, and you see how they fit nice and neat into those holes there, and it seals the gap, unlike the other one, the valve cover, which is all messed up, and the coil won't seat properly in there. That's why we had to get a brand new coil valve cover gasket, valve cover. Even though I couldn't even get the spark plugs to go inside the valve cover to get the plugs out. That valve cover was just bad. So now we're gonna go over and do the other plugs. Okay, we got the driver's side valve cover on. We got the coils plugged in. We got it all torqued down. We got the temp sensor plugged back in to there. We got all our vacuum lines plugged in back there. We got our cam pizzazz shifting sensors plugged in, and all our lines on. So now we're going to go ahead and take these old intake gaskets off, clean up that surface, and put on the new Pro gaskets. And we'll be ready to put this intake on and hook these hoses up and get this thing running. Okay, we got the new Pro gaskets for the intake in place, and they're sealed on there nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. Give us a chance to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bolts in. So there's the intake down there, and I'm going to mark my long bolts just in case they try to fall out, because I got to plug some stuff in to the back before I set this in place. Okay, we got our plenum on. We got our 6 bolts tightened down to torque, and it was 1, 2, I believe 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That was the tightening pattern. So now we're going to hook up all our hoses and see if we can get this thing cranked. Okay, we got the plenum all connected. We got all our vacuum lines hooked. We got everything in the back connected and hooked up. Everything's nice and tight. All we got to do is put on the air cleaner here that goes to the throttle position sensor. We already got throttle position sensors, all those sensors hooked up, and we've got to hook up the mass airflow and all that stuff when we get ready to hook up this air intake right now. Okay, this is Rev with Rev It Up Mustang Fanatic Productions Mechanic Edition. Well, we just got through finishing putting back together the 05 Lincoln LS. We had to get new valve cover gasket from Pull and Pick, and we had to get a new intake gasket. We got new coils, new plugs, and we got everything hooked up. Everything's ready to go. We're gonna start her up and see what she does, and make sure there's no leaking anywhere, and then we'll have my wife call her friend and tell her her vehicle's ready. So this is one of the last 2 vehicles that I'm going to be doing, because I got a bad report from the doctor, and I got a torn hip. It's the burl is in the groin, and it hurts pretty bad. I'm on hydrocodone, and I got to go see orthopedic specialist, and they're going to think about whether to do surgery or not. So y'all keep me in prayer. I got my nephew's vehicle to finish to put a valve cover gasket on that, and then we're gonna just be taking it easy. Rev it up, Mustang Fanatic Productions, Mechanic Edition. So she started up fine. She's running. Everything seems pretty good. No skipping, no missing. So we'll let her run for a second and check the valve cover gasket. Meanwhile, I gotta find a keys to the Mercedes and pull it out, let this run outside. So we're in the LS. It drives fine, no skipping, doesn't stall, runs nice and smooth. That's the airbag light that's been on, but the check engine light is out. And she drives good. Not bad from getting valve covers from a junkyard. Rev it up, Mustang Fanatic Productions, Mechanic Edition. This is day 2 with the 05 Lincoln LS, and it was just supposed to be coils, plugs, and a fuel rail pressure sensor, but the valve covers were no good. Where the coils seat, that area was pretty messed up, and the coils will never seal, and you would lose compression within the engine. So we found valve cover gaskets at Pick and Pull. So we had to take a break yesterday and get our meds, and so we heavily medicated. It's a little early in the morning. I'm just going to get this valve cover off and take some more pain meds, and then head back to bed. And then tomorrow, which is already today, it's after 12, go and get the other valve cover gasket. But it's pretty simple. There's a 8mm bolt that went in there. You want to get this fuel line out of the way. You want to loosen up everything around here, your wires around the valve cover gaskets, and any hoses that's in the way. And then that little thermostat, what do you call it, temperature gauge, right in the valve cover. That's a 3/4, and you can stick that 3/4 wrench right in there, and once it unscrews, once you get it loose, it'll unscrew right out, and then all your valve covers can come off. Make sure you get all 12 valve cover bolts. So that's the temp sensor right there. So we want to wrap this up and keep this pretty safe. So all the wires are this DPEM. You loosen the 2 bolts up and get those off of that, and you gotta loosen it on the other side, and that gives you room to get to those bolts back there. And basically that's about it. We'll show you the valve cover gaskets later. So now that we got that valve cover gasket off, we're going to go ahead, and we already removed the plugs. We're going to gap the plugs at 0.54 thousandths of an inch. We're going to go ahead and clean up that gasket area where the gasket was, get it all clean and dry, and then we're going to cover this up and be ready for it tomorrow. You see the dual cams on this side as well. Chain is pretty tight, tensioners pretty tight, so not bad for 197,000 miles or so. And we got the Ford Motorcraft spark plugs, and it's supposed to be gapped at 54 thousandths, and there it is right there. And the number is SP-459. I got the spark plugs in. They're gapped at 0.054 thousandths of an inch, and I like to use these little plastic scrapers. That way I don't scratch the heads where the valve cover attaches to. So I'm going to scrape up some of the little areas, like right here where you put black RTV sealant, and you would put a little right there, you would put some right there, and you would put some right there. So the rest is just dirt from the gasket, and then the spark plug tube seals right there, which is pretty clean. So just take some brake clean and with a rag, and we'll wipe that up, but we're going to scrape away so nothing falls into the cylinder head, the valve train area. Okay, we got our surface all cleaned up, and I got a nice clean shop towel covering it so no dirt and debris get in it. And when I get the other valve cover on tomorrow and all buttoned up and tightened down, and all our coils in, coil plugs connected to it, and the DPEM back there bolted back to the back of the valve cover, once I get that down, then I will concentrate on taking these old intake gaskets off and put it on the new intake gasket. So that's it for tonight, which is tomorrow. I'm a little drowsy and sleepy, so I'm gonna head back to bed. But I just wanted to, while I was up and medicated and feeling all right, to go ahead and get as much as I can done so I can get this thing out of here tomorrow to my wife's friend. All right, rev it up, Mustang Fanatic. Mechanic edition. Remember Friday, the 10th, I have to see my pain management specialist, and he's gonna go over my MRI with me of my hip and back, and I am being referred to an orthopedic specialist. So things are getting critical, so I'm not doing as much, might not be able to do anything more, but anyway, you guys keep me in prayer, and we thank you for the 555 subscribers. We will be having Mustang content because season is in, so I'll be cleaning the electric biff up and getting her ready for car shows, cruising, and parades. We're supposed to meet at 88 Vape and Tobacco Smoke Shop Friday, 7:30 until but the weather's not looking very cooperative. I think it's about a 38 to 40% chance of rain. I don't know whether that's in the evening or it's in the morning, but we'll see. At any rate, if I don't think the weather's that great, I can always take the Mercedes down there and hang out. That's a good looking vehicle. All right, God bless. We'll catch you guys around about 9 o'clock in the morning, Lord willing. God bless. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Okay, we got the used valve cover on here. We got a torque to sequence. Now we're going to put the coils in and plug everything back up, and get the intake all cleaned up and get everything put back together.